You might have gotten your first diaphragm with milk money, but that doesn't give you the right to corrupt my daughter.
Did I see that?
I seduced the cable guy again.
Yeah, he's hot.
Hey, I don't remember how we ended up in bed together.
I've had more thrills leaning up against my dryer.
Well, I was more in the mood for sex then than I am now.
You know, that warm sensation, that tingling feeling of relief when it's over.
Just finish your soup and we'll get naked.
Action!
I spent the entire season pregnant, so that was very interesting to try to play this really uptight character when really I was kind of waddling in real life, you know, and getting bigger and bigger through every show. And I think every week there was a new way of how are we going to hide my pregnancy. Once they used a manger, and I hid behind a manger. Another time there was a gingerbread house. Other times it was pieces of furniture. There were times where I hid behind other actors, where I'd do kind of a funny do-si-do just to hide my belly. Usually it would have to be Eva and Terry because they're both so thin that, you know, I'd be like hiding behind them. There was a box when I was packing to get rid of Dixie.
Where are you sending me?
Oh, we rented you a condo in a lovely retirement community. It's our Christmas gift to you.
I mean, it was just, you know, every show, every time I was on, it was, you know, just really how do we hide her belly? I started the season standing up, and then eventually I was sitting down, and then by the end I was laying down. That was me through the season.
Hey, Gabby.
Hi, Edie. Mark Cherry had asked me, who haven't you worked with that you would love to work with? And I said, I think Edie and Gabrielle should be friends. They're both like man-eaters. They're both interested in money, and they're both kind of superficial and materialistic. So why aren't they friends?
We had a shopping spree, and Edie comes back and with all of this lingerie, and
I should never shop for lingerie when I'm horny. It's like buying groceries when you're hungry.
In a slump, huh?
we did have a great laugh when we were shooting that.
You know, I'm this close to seducing my gardener.
Been there, done that.
That's one of my favorite scenes when I'm explaining to her about how I like to keep spots off of wine glasses. I'm wiping them down with undiluted red wine vinegar.
I've never heard of that.
She's really turned on by how kind of anal retentive he is, which is right up her alley.
Remember those really intractable stains? I mean, we're talking shower doors.
You know how that's really an aphrodisiac for her.
Bree. Bree gets all sort of, you know, turned on by this, and then we end up upstairs.
That was really fun.
All I'm saying is that I'd feel a lot safer on the pill.
Can't we just keep using condoms and be extra careful?
I just love when they write stuff like that. They did have Susan sort of sneaking down the stairs to hear this conversation between Julie and Austin, and she hears her say condom, and it makes her hand slip, and she goes flying down the stairs. And they always bring in the stunt double, and we hardly ever use them.
You don't want to hear your daughter talking about birth control? It was a very funny scene to shoot.
I love that physical stuff, and I have the bruises to, you know, show for it.
Susan's daughter is a very smart, almost precocious little girl. And she comes to Edie with a huge teenage problem.
You got my daughter the pill?
Susan and Edie have this blowout, storming up the street with all sorts of zingers flying.
It's not like I went after Julie and said, hey, do you want to go out for a burger and some birth control? She came to me.
That was a very funny scene to shoot.
She's just a boob job away from being you.
I've loved some of the work that Doug Savant and I have done.
I talked to my back doctor today.
Oh, what did he have to say?
I can have sex again.
And what would that have to do with me?
Well, you don't seem to want to talk to me these days, so I figured it's the one thing that we can do together without speaking.
When Felicity and I have the scene in the bedroom where Tom really confronts her and says that we can either talk or we can have sex.
Fine. Let's have sex.
Which, of course, is ironic and funny. And it becomes very physical very quickly because it is the result of what this couple has been keeping bottled down. And it is the breakthrough that Tom is looking for emotionally in Lynette. But it was exhilarating to shoot that scene because it was so passionate.
You are mad at me. But name one thing that I have done to deserve it.
And I think it's nice to see a marriage that works. I don't mean that's perfect, but that works on Wisteria Lane.
It's time! I can't believe this is happening!
I think I'm gonna cry. The scene that we did where Zhao Mei, our Chinese maid, who's also our character surrogate, was delivering. It was a funny scene. Oh, man, I gotta get the color fixed on this thing.
Not so much losing the baby. as much as the baby was not theirs.
I just told Susan I want her back.
Excuse me?
I really liked the stuff with Ian and Susan and Mike, and play that sort of triangle. Normally it's been Mike and Edie and Susan.
Excuse me? Oh, yesterday Susan and I ran into you at the post office, last week the movies. One might think you're following us.
So it was sort of fun to be the pursuer and to go after Susan for a change. So that was pretty fun.
Susan!
When Ian and Susan went into the lake, you know, that whole experience was actually sort of an accident because the stunt was overdone and the car wasn't supposed to flip. We were just supposed to be sort of stuck in the lake and the water was supposed to be coming in the windows. And so we all stood there for a second and I said, I know, what if we pretend like, you know, we came out and we're hanging on the edge of the car and we play the scene outside while the car is slowly sinking.
Susan. I can't swim.
What? It's Mike! He's here!
Of course he is.
I think really Mike and Susan got completely lost in the second season, so I think the third season really tried to concentrate on finding a reason to have them have conflict, but ultimately end up back together. Mike saved our cheese!
Yes, he's quite the hero.
Good thing I was following you.
We're suing for custody of Kayla, who is Tom's daughter, through this woman, Nora. And she finds out and corners me in the supermarket. And she's a force to be reckoned with. Hey, Nora, how's tricks?
I thought it was your car I saw on the lot. You're a conniving bitch.
Ah, see, you've heard from our lawyer. Nora starts needling me and starts saying, how could you? And she's my daughter, and what do you mean to take her away from me? And I say,
Kayla would be better off with us than in a dingy apartment over a Tijuana strip club.
Believe me, Lynette, you do not want to screw with me.
You went after my husband. If anyone should be afraid, it's you.
I love season 3.
We had a lot of fun doing it.
I just think it ended up being really perfect.
All right.
Pucker up.
Oh!
good God, was that season 3?
Cut.